Are we ready?
Yes, you can keep talking,
Oh,
please.
hello, cyber babies. It's the even more fabulous Mother Love coming to you live and in living color. Well, as opposed to coming to you dead in black and white. What fun would that be? That beautiful lady who is I'm sharing the screen with today, her name is Keilah Cook. This is an awesome young woman. I'm telling you. You probably think she's one. She probably got is part Jamaican because she got 11 jobs. She is a creative artist. She is a former veteran. Thank you very much for your service, young lady. She's married, and it's a good thing you pretty because you got 5 kids, and they're all girls, and all that testosterone coming around. We're gonna talk about your life. What got you started? When did you know? Because from a young girl, you've been an entrepreneur for like all of your life. You're a multipreneur. So tell us about Keilah. Where you from? Tell us about your family, people you love.
Okay, well, I'm Kayla. It's very nice to be here. It's a pleasure to be with you today, Mother Love.
Thank
And
you, my dear.
I I grew up in Minnesota. I'm an adopted I'm an adoptee from Korea.
Oh,
But
okay.
turns out that I did some family research on my history now that they have, Ancestry and
Mhm,
23andMe,
mhm.
and getting knowing your DNA and getting to know who you are is a big thing. And it came out a while ago, but I just got started and just really started getting interested in it about 2 years ago.
Really?
So when I ran my family history and it came back, it said that I was a part of a nation called the Ainu people, and they were from a very small island in Japan. So when I found that out, I was like, wow, it was mind blowing because I don't know my birth mother, I don't know my birth father, I have no way of connecting with my family tree. And the people that raised me, they weren't very interested in me going to look backward into the past and pulling who I am out. And it pained me for a very long time to
I,
grow up that way
I could.
without really knowing who
Mhm,
you are, you know.
mhm. And you know
So
you belong somewhere. You,
yes, I
you
knew
just
I had a
don't.
family somewhere.
Mhm,
It just wasn't where I was at. It wasn't where I grew up.
mhm.
And I could feel that, and it made me very sad, and it made me look for look for answers in the wrong places.
Mm.
So growing up, um, I went through depression and, of course, anxiety and all of that. And when I got old enough, I went to the military, and that was something that I made. That choice was very hasty. It wasn't very well thought out because I felt like if I stayed in the place that I was in for much longer, I wouldn't have made it out.
Mm.
So I went to the military, and that's where I met my husband. And that was something that it saved my life. And he's wonderful, and he's always been wonderful to me
Now,
ever since I met him. And
now, did you
now we
always
have
know?
5 kids.
Now, did you always know you were adopted, or did you find that out later?
I did. My mother, or the mother who raised me, she told me that I was adopted when I was 4. And it was really, really hard for me to metabolize. And the reaction that I had wasn't good per
Mhm.
se, just because the way she worded everything. Um, she had told me that that my mother and father didn't want me, and they weren't able to raise me. So that's why I ended up with her.
And you're 4 years old, and
Yes,
that had to shake your foundation. How were you able to process something like that at 4?
I wasn't able to process it. And I think that's what contributed to a lot of trials and failures throughout my life because I didn't know how to metabolize it. And I think when you don't have complete understanding or a mature understanding to really dig deep into someone else's actions, especially if your mother means everything to you. That's the foundation. That's the energy that brings life and it sustains life. And when that's shaken, or when you don't know about that and you're confused, it 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 can get really dark.
I'm just trying to wrap my head around how would anybody, an adult, present that to a child whose mind is still developing. I mean, at 4 years old, so by the time you got to 10, this is 6 months later, 6 years later. Were you able to deal with it even more? Did they want you to talk about? Because you said your mother told you that they didn't want you or they couldn't take care of you. Then they had to do something with your psyche. Do you believe that attributed to your going down that dark path because you did not know where you were
Yeah,
from?
that ties in a lot. I think that's the foundation of it all. So, that seed was planted when I was 4, and then after that, I spent a lot of years just trying to find who I was
Hmm.
because I couldn't look around me and see myself in anyone. And I knew at 4, I knew that I was different because I could look in the mirror and see that I don't resemble these people that I live with.
Hmm.
And growing up that way, it was confusing, but I really, really wanted to fit in.
Hmm.
And I think that was one of the character traits that I had that it prompted a lot of confusion and a lot of sadness.
Hmm.
And I just I wanted to be loved. I
Hmm.
wanted to be accepted. And I always felt like I was outside of the circle, no matter where I went. I always felt like I was the odd one out, the stranger, the one who just didn't fit. And I wish I would have been mature or had the mind that I have now, even though that's impossible. You know, you can't go back and have a child be mature at all. But if I had known that being strange, so to speak,
Hmm.
was actually a good thing, then then I would have had a better time and I would have had um, a much smoother life
Hmm.
to transition out of childhood, adolescence, and then into adulthood.
That had to be a struggle. Now, do you have brothers and sisters?
I do. I have a sister that is biological to my adoptive parents,
Hmm.
but I don't know any of my blood relatives.
Now, are you older or younger than your sister?
Older.
So that's a whole nother dynamic coming in and
Yes.
trying to understand, and like you said, where do I fit in? Now they got their own baby, and where do I come in? And then that could send you through a lot of changes mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How am I connected? Where do I belong? And you said it was a hasty decision that you joined the military. Let's go back to that hasty position. That because I am not a veteran. I come from a family of veterans. I mean, the Army, the Navy, everybody was in the military. And I was like, they go, are you going to go join the military too? I'm like, I don't even want to take orders from my mother. You think I want to take some orders from somebody I don't know? Okay, I'm just saying. So with that, and you bringing that with you, what did that help you do as a service person? And did it hurt or hinder?
Whew. It was one of the best decisions that I've made, even
Mhm.
though it was hasty. I believe that the spirit was leading me to make that choice just because I was stubborn and I still am to this day.
No,
I'm a very stubborn person
no.
and I need to keep that in check. It's something that involves a lot of introspection. And since I've been working on introspection and looking inside rather than wanting to branch out and satisfy other people and making sure that everyone else is okay, I felt that the spirit had led me to make that choice because I was on a road. I came off of addiction and the addiction that I came off of was horrible. So I had just gotten off of the addiction and then I
Are
made
you
that
are
choice
you
to
willing to
leave.
share that with us? Because there are a lot of
Absolutely.
people who
Yes, of
are
course.
in
Yes.
that very same situation, don't feel like they belong, don't know if they do. How come I don't look like you and you don't look like me? And when you got sisters and brothers, and I bring that up because I was traumatized by my sister. She told me, Mama, and she's my oldest sister, so I think she would know what was going on. She told me my mother found me on the church step in a basket and brought me home. And most of the people in my family are tall. I'm vertically challenged. I'm just letting you know. And she would say, you know why you don't look like us? You know why you ain't tall like us? Because you ain't really my sister. Mama found you on the St. Paul church step. I mean, she came up with the church the whole nine. And I was devastated. Finally, said to my mother, 'cause she was saying to me, "You just what's going on?" I said, "Mama," she said, "you found me on church on this stuff in St. Paul Church." My mother sat me down. One of the few times she actually let me sit on her lap and let me hug her through this, and because she wasn't a real touchy feely kind of person, and
Right.
with all these kids, and she had 6 kids before she was 31.
Wow.
Okay, every time I say that, I sound crazy. And she sat me down and she said, "Baby, listen, like this close." She said, "Baby, listen, I love you with my life, and I'm just gonna be straight up with you. If I had found you, even saw you on St. Paul Church there, I wouldn't have left you there." I was like, "You would have," she said, "Baby, you my natural child. You your daddy, baby. So you don't even have to go through that." And my sister was on punishment for 2 weeks for telling me that. And after
Hmm.
that, we became really cool people in the house because sometimes you even in a bloodline, you don't feel welcome, you don't feel safe, you don't feel the sense of belonging. And you said the military gave you that. You had to learn to love people that you didn't even know. What was
Yeah.
that? Oh no, let's talk about your addiction before you went. This is before you went into the military.
Yeah.
Excuse
This was when at first I was a dancer, so I was trained classically in ballet and jazz and modern hip hop, tap, everything that you could ever think of. I was always at the dance studio. So
me.
my life was strictly dedicated to that craft and
Mhm,
that craft alone. I had no time for social life. I had no time for any activities outside or inside of school. So I would get picked up from school early, driven to dance practice, and I would be there until midnight most nights. So yes, it was very intense, and we traveled all around the United States and competed. So it was very demanding, and it required a lot of dedication. So after I stopped loving that because it was so competitive and people are so cutthroat, and so they're just so mean, especially
mhm,
the moms and the girls who are involved in that industry. It's pretty bad, but I just stopped loving it and I quit. And I had a lot of time on my hands after I quit, and
mhm,
it was kind of shocking. So I started hanging out with people and um got into some got some wrong friends,
mhm,
ran into some wrong people, and they pulled me into this dark world, and stressing out about school and just life in general,
mhm.
identity issues and crises and that sort of stuff. I stepped into addiction, and I was addicted to meth for about a year and a half. So
Methamphetamine.
methamphetamine, yeah,
Okay, my goodness,
yes,
because that could
and
wreak
it was
that could wreak harm. That wreaks havoc on your body. It's
it
not
does.
just mental. I have seen people who were addicted to that and did not make it through. What
Me
was
too.
your power and your strength to say, "Keilah, you could do this. You can do this. This is not your life. This is not who I am." Even though I don't even know anything about my blood relatives, I know about me. And I'm tougher than this. I'm smarter than this. And I understand that when be like that, you got to hit the rock bottom. Be down so far, you looking up to see the bottom. Where was your wherewithal when you're looking up to see the bottom? You're like, "I can crawl out of this. I can get
One
out."
day One day I looked in the mirror and I saw my reflection, and I looked gray. My skin was gray. I was emaciated. I weighed about 85 pounds. And I finally saw myself for what I really was. And the inside of me was reflecting on the outside, because normally I wouldn't see myself in that way. And what methamphetamine does, it just distorts your perception. It brings you to a very dark place, and you feel like you're on top of the world, but in reality, you are a creature of darkness. And I finally saw that. The Most High let me know and let me see that. And I got treatment. I went to Hazelden Treatment Center. I was an inpatient there for about 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, I came back out and I had to reassess and really fight to stay sober.
Mm-hmm.
And that was I relapsed once, and it didn't feel the same. And I felt so guilty and so sad inside that I said I needed to this is an emergency. I need to go and formulate some sort of plan. And I saw a commercial online that the Army posted, and I signed up. I went to the recruiting office, and within a week, I was gone. I was in boot camp.
You just went from one major life situation to another one and then to another. Again, where did that wherewithal come from? Because so
I
many people don't know. I don't know how to get out of this, and then they go to rehab for 30 days, or not 60 or 90 days, and they come out and they're good for about a week and a half, and they realize that their life is changed, and they go right back in rehab. Something said to you, and that's what I want to hear about. Something said to you personally, because the universe will open up and show you what the deal is. And you said, I'm going to what?
I'm going to the Army. I'm going to lift myself up from this position, because if this isn't rock bottom, I don't know what could be rock bottom. I didn't want to find out if I hadn't hit rock bottom yet. So, man, and it takes a lot of inner strength to be able to go from somewhere that you're used to, and then go to somewhere where you're not. You don't know anything. These people are strangers. You have drill sergeants and drill instructors yelling at you in your face, threatening you, and pretty much beating you up. And that was when I got to the military, I immediately regretted my decision. Like I immediately wanted to go back home, and then I was like, no, you can't do this. Like I had a conversation with myself, and I had told myself that night that I'll cry as much as I need to cry during this harsh time, but I have to fight to stay alive now, because I am my own worst enemy, and I have been blocking all of my blessings and all of my spiritual gifts. And I can't afford to do that anymore, because if I do go back, I will die.
See, you get it. You get it. And it's so important because you said earlier it was a hasty decision for you to join the Army. And then you said you found your husband in the military.
Yes.
Okay, what was that like?
Oh
Well, I love
man.
your body art. I love your body art.
Oh, thank you. um, my husband, I've never met anyone like him in my entire life. And normally, I never imagined myself ever committing to someone so fast. And of course, we had in our marriage, it's been very difficult. It's very difficult to be married. And it's because you have to be selfless. You can't be a selfish person, especially if you want to join and make a union with someone. You have to have your stuff together, so to speak.
Yeah.
You have to figure out who you are and love yourself and know who you are. We have, a lot of us have, the reason why we're selfish is because we don't have enough self-love. We don't appreciate who we are and what we have to offer, what we bring to the table. And a partnership is supposed to be just that. It's a partnership, the coming together of two people into one mind, one body, to focus on the same goal. And that same goal could be anything. And at first I was young when I got married. I was 19, and
Oh
he
my
was,
goodness.
yeah, and he was 26. So
Oh, he done robbed the cradle. Shut up, my love.
but the
And he's a
Army,
military guy. So he's
he
thinking
was
that you can handle orders.
he was not in basic training with me. He went to the same military training school that I went to after
Mm,
basic training.
okay.
So when we went to the school where we learn our jobs,
Mhm.
I met him there, and I asked him, "Hey, do you have a phone?" And then I got shy and I ran away. Like I didn't even ask for his number. I didn't get to that part yet. So I asked if he had a phone, and later on we started to talk, and I
Mhm.
started to get to know him, and he was it felt like it was the person for me, because he would be the only person that I've met thus far that could relate to my struggle
Mhm.
in life.
And didn't hold it against you. because
Not at all. No judgment.
oftentimes I've seen it happen. Unfortunately, oftentimes when either one, if it's the wife or the husband, it doesn't really matter who is going through the gauntlet with these demons. When you got a mate and you start, shying away from them and doing all of that, it's never going to bode well. One of my one of the gifts that God has bestowed upon me was to be able to talk openly and honestly about my relationship. My husband and I will be together 52 years in October. Is that right? 72 from now to whatever it is between then and now. And building that relationship started with us becoming friends. I wanted to know what kind of man he was and I knew the first day I saw him, I'm gonna marry that guy. I'm gonna have his kids. Oh, he could, and he was like, what is wrong with her? She crazy. And he literally ran from me, and I pursued him, and I'm being sure I pursued him in what would now be called stalking. Oh yeah, I was on. Let me find out who your friends are. Who you got a girlfriend? How you treat your parents. Did you got friends that still grow up with? What you need to know these things, and you need to know them first about you. You have to
Yeah.
become your best friend. You can't expect somebody else outside of you and your ilk to say, okay, I could come in, and I know you've heard this before. Oh yeah, I'm gonna get him, and I'm gonna fix him. Well, I'm gonna get her, and I'm gonna fix her. I'm gonna be her knight in shining armor. Why? Why can't she be her own knight in shining armor? Why would you want somebody to come halfway to the table with you and you willing to give it all? And that's where the friendship comes in. So you meet him after I didn't even know they assigned you jobs. I thought you could pick your job in the military. I guess that's not what I was supposed to think.
Well, you take a test, and that
Mhm.
test determines which profession you could go into. So I had a few options. I had the supply, which I went into.
Mhm.
Um, I had medic, and I didn't want to do that because you'd have to go overseas all the time, and you
Mhm.
put your life in danger 24/7. And I didn't feel that that would be a good fit. I also had, what else was it? A cook, and I think that's I think there was a few more, but I can't really remember them.
Mhm.
But I just felt like supply would probably be the best thing
Mhm.
for me since I'm very analytical.
Mhm. So you allergic to BS too, huh?
Yeah.
And you get to that place when you got to the place that you knew Keilah was full and Keilah was enough and Keilah is complete. What was that like for you? And especially all the trauma that you'd gone through, from your mother telling you you are adopted and you really don't belong to us or woo. So and all of the things that she did to push you. When did you know that you could do this by yourself and you would be your best cheerleader?
This year, just this year, like literally a few months ago,
So you are
about 6 months ago.
You're a brand new welcome to the life, baby. This
I
is what
am.
the deal is, and you can make this anything you want this to be. And I got you. I got you. When did you know this was your assignment and you know this is what I'm supposed to do? And when you got ready to marry your husband, did you have any reservations, even though that was quick?
When I got ready to marry him, I was in a hurry to find safety. I was in a hurry to find something, a best friend, somebody who would be able to share all of the struggles with, even though I was still going through struggles at that time, which actually it caused a lot of issues because I was still going through that phase where I was still trying to find who I was and what happiness is. And I was so far off from knowing that you create your own happiness, you cultivate that, and you have to figure out what happiness is to you.
Mhm.
Just like you have to figure out what is wealth and rich to you.
Mhm.
Because there's so many different opinions and people have so many different definitions personally. And I had to figure out that family, love, unconditional love, acceptance, um, being okay with messing up sometimes, being okay with not having excess, and living in the countryside where I live now, owning my home, and the Most High, and my children and my husband, that being just enough, more than enough,
Hmm.
that will once I found that out, I was complete.
Hmm. And
But
it
it
was
took so long.
she was always there. She
Yeah.
was always inside of you saying, you can do this. And like, now you don't know what you're talking about. Don't be talking to me. I know what I'm doing. And then go, okay. And you tell the universe your plan for life. And this is from experience. You tell the
Yes.
universe what your plan for life, and God will say, you sound stupid. That's not what you're here to do. And I'm just gonna be the one to tell you, you sound stupid. You got great things to do. Don't be minimizing my power and my majesty. Come on, boy. That's how you talk to me. Get your behind up. I don't know what you think this is. Some kind of freebie. Get your butt up. And then you get to the point you say, I can do this. Now you said it just happened for you where you got the picture. You know, you like, okay, you have I just to say this with my heart. You have five daughters. You're the sixth female in your house with your only husband. Are you thinking of having more children?
I'm not. I think
Okay,
these are enough.
so now
These
you
are
have
definitely
five
enough.
daughters, and that dynamic changes when there's only one guy in there with the testosterone. Now, is he as stubborn as you are?
He's not actually. He's very, very easygoing and very even.
Mhm.
And how he navigates through raising these children and dealing with me and everything in life, just being dealing with life in general. I he's just amazing to me. He's wonderful and so bright and so positive that I don't know where I'd be
See,
without
that's
him.
that was the universe opening up to letting you know you are enough. And not only are you not enough, not only are you enough, we're gonna make sure that you hook up with a guy who knows he's enough because
Oh,
you're sitting at the table of life. And this is where you're talking about building your foundation. And it's got to be solid. That's why I tell women this all the time and fellas. You know, you really want to get married and you want to have that foundation. Find out if you are able to be friends. Because that love and kisses and, oh, I just love you and it smells so good. Are you going to be there for me when I'm thrown up on the side of the bed for morning sickness, or I got a big knot on my neck and I got to go get the pus drained out, or whatever the case is? And that's when you know that's that guy.
yes.
Because there could be a lot of different little things or even some big things, and then you go, oh, that's the guy. Or you kept getting your son, oh, that's the guy. Oh, that is the guy. Well, I'm 19. He's 26. He a grown man, and let the law say you are considered a grown woman at 19, at
Oh, yeah.
18 even. And so you knew this. And did he know first, or did you know first that you guys were going to get married?
I did.
Did you?
I did. I was kind of like you. I pursued him.
Okay. After
And
you like, I'm gonna
and
keep.
I don't regret it at all.
That's why you gotta keep them skanks and heifers away from your good man, because I'm not gonna have y'all taking him up. No, this one is mine. And I met him in college, and I told all the chicks that I were friends with, don't make me have to come after you with a butter knife, because I will nick away from him. And when you know that you know. And did your family and your people around you in your era and in your circle say anything like, "Why are you marrying him? He's just a baby"? What kind of pushback, if any, did you get?
I didn't get any push. Well, my family did not approve because of who he is and his skin color, of course. And the thing
It
is,
must be black.
mhm,
He must
yes,
be black.
yep,
I don't
yes.
know what but I found out why people think they fighting a black man, especially good black men, especially family oriented black men, because they are men. They're not little boys. They're not little teenagers. These are grown men. And that you knew that's who you needed, a grown man. You need somebody still going through their issues. Like, I can already tell which one you are. I always ask people in a relationship, who's the crazy person and who takes care of the crazy person? Because we both
Yes.
can't be crazy at the same time. We can't be crazy at the same time.
No.
So does he take care of you? Are you the crazy one in the relationship?
Yes, I can honestly say that I am. I
I
needed the
know
most
I
attention. I
am.
needed the most instruction
And,
and the most, yes, I needed the most correction.
mhm,
He had a a lot of life under his belt.
Mhm.
He's seen a lot of things, like reality had hit him when he was very young.
Mhm.
And I could not fathom all of the things that he had to go through. I mean, I was blown away when I started to get to know him and he told me these stories about his life and how hard it was for his family. And I could never be able to relate to that because I grew up in a white household
Mhm.
and with white parents, and they had enough. They had more than enough. They were very comfortable.
Mhm.
And I didn't ever want for anything except for unconditional love and acceptance.
Mhm.
That's all. We had all the material things in the world, but love and acceptance were not two of them. And I felt so cold and isolated and very poor spiritually because there was no spirituality in the home. There was no music in the home. Like when I got to know his mother's a wonderful woman and she's just the best mom that I could have ever asked for.
Mhm.
She would cook and be in the kitchen listening to music. And I was like, well, this is kind of weird. I never, I had never experienced that before. And now I'm like, wow, I look back and I was just like, wow, I miss so much. I was missing so many key parts to building your personality, building your spirituality, building love, building just love and joy filled relationships
Mhm.
and the whole family dynamic. And I just learning from him and his mother and his sister and his brother and his cousins and the whole family was
Mhm.
so accepting of me. And I never had felt that before. So I feel I am blessed to be able to had been moved from Minnesota all the way to North Carolina.
What was that culture shock like? I mean, you lived in Minnesota. I've been to Minnesota, and I love the people in Minnesota. But I said, can when you guys invite me again, can it be in the summer, this spring?
Right.
And I'm from Ohio, so I know what those winters are like. I mean, they are brutal. When you got to go get provisions because you might get snowed in at any time.
Yes, it's the Great White North.
Oh yeah. We have relatives down there in North Carolina, and so and you guys every now and then you get snow down there, don't you?
Every now and then we haven't this winter.
Oh,
But
that's
yes, we a few winters ago, yes, I think it was 2, 3 years ago, we had a brief snowfall, but that was it.
oh, and it melts the next day.
Yep,
Now,
melt the next day.
does your parents are how are they with the grandchildren?
They're not involved.
You got a
They're not
15-year
involved.
old, 11-year-old, and three more old kids down the line. They don't. Was that your choice or their choice?
It was my choice,
Mhm.
because of how they treat my husband and how they treat me, how they treat my children. My
Mhm.
children won't be accessories. They won't be little things um, that you can manipulate.
Mhm.
And some some parents don't have the best intentions for their children. So therefore, no good intentions for their grandchildren.
See, that's the kind
So
of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that you have to get out the way because you don't want your daughters to ever feel that way. And just think about this. Your first daughter, because that's the one that's gonna set the bar for the rest of the siblings. We know that. I'm the second oldest, and I know how that works. And listen, you have to be good because your sisters are looking at you, your brothers are looking at you. I'm like, why are they looking at me? What they looking at me for? You're gonna set the example. I'm like, well, I gotta do that. And that's a big responsibility, especially when you got a lot of children in the house. And the fact that they get to grow up with a grown man father. They get to see what a dad does, how a dad treats their mother. They get to see how they talk to their mother. I remember when our son was little, I can't even tell you how old he is. I just can't even remember. It was a long time ago. And he was saying, this always cool to see y'all dancing around the house and singing. I can't carry a tune in a push cart. And I didn't realize that he was even watching us. He was like, you a dad would just get up and get doing y'all dances from the 60s, from way back in the day. That's what they say, way back in the day. And it had never dawned on me that children were growing up like you. They felt like, okay, well, I've got the house paid and you eat and you got clothes and you go to dance rehearsal, so don't even be bothered with me. So if they were up here now in the 21st century, they would just, here's a laptop, here's a telephone, go to the computer, just don't bother me. And they don't get that love connection. And you know, like I know, when people don't get their mother love as they deserve, as they should, it's going to be a hot mess afterwards. And oftentimes, you can't clean that mess up because you distance them so much from yourself. And I'm just saying to you people in Minnesota, you all are missing out on treasures, on gold mines. You're missing out on what you can bring to your child and your grandchildren. And obviously, you can't teach what you don't know. You ever think that she grew up in a household like that where it's just material things and that's all that matters?
I know my aunts and my uncles. I do know about my grandmother, and I got to observe as a child
Mhm.
how they relate to each other. And of course, there's a barrier between her and her mother and her father. And I always thought that it was a very sad thing, and I could sense it. Grown-ups think children are dumb, dumber than they are. They're so smart. Children feel everything, and they watch everything, and they
Everything.
soak in
They
everything.
hear everything.
They do, and they can feel it because we're vibratory creatures.
Yes.
We're vibratory. We're a vibratory people. So we soak everything in and internalize it, and it affects us in a way. It affects us very deeply. So when I observed my grandparents and my mother relate to each other, I could tell that they weren't very close, and I could tell that they were very standoffish, so to speak, of each other. And I think that did contribute to my mother being overbearing. I did think that contributed to her being, hmm, I don't actually know the correct word to use, and I don't want to be disrespectful. So I'll just say that the pressure was too much, the expectations were too much. And we sometimes parents do expect their children to make adult choices when they're just children, and then they punish them for that. And then they say that they never have done anything bad. We've never made any mistakes. How could you say that to your child when you're not perfect? Only the Most High is perfect.
Perfect.
When you want to say that, when you want to go that far. So not explaining certain things to your children, I think, ends up hindering them, and it gives them a false sense of reality. And
Mhm.
then they run with that reality because they respect you.
Mhm.
And their love at that point is unconditional. But they don't know, they always think that it's going to be sweet forever. You
And it's
can't treat your children a certain way and expect them to have unconditional love forever, because that love is conditional after a certain age, or after you treat them a certain way
see, I
or
say it comes.
violate them.
I say it comes conditional when it's time for them to start paying rent or buy a house note or do start doing grown up stuff. And what I found out is you really don't know what kind of parent you really are until your children become adults and you see the choices that they make. And they're like, oh, well, did nobody tell you to start doing no methamphetamine? But did you ever think one time, mother, that I'm doing this because I'm masking a hurt heart? And she's got a hurt heart too. And you saw it in your parents and the way they related to their parents. And when you could see it, you know it, and you made the cognitive choice to sever that toxic line between you and them, so that your kids can see all the beauty that you can give them, that their father can give them. Because once you let them go, this world don't give a flying crap about nobody. They don't care how beautiful you are, how talented you are. You can be ran over. And so you have to make sure that you give them a foundation. And the only way you could do that is to know what that's like. And when you don't, you find where you can build that. And
Yeah.
and then you create your own family. Because oftentimes they say blood is thicker than water. I'm like, I mean, that's probably cool for some people, but some people that's not cool for. And family are the people that when you knock on the door, they gonna come in and say, "Oh, baby, come on in, Cody, come on in, baby, we got you." And you don't have to explain why you're there. You don't have to explain why you're knocking on the door. Family will open up the door for the ones that love you. And speaking of love, We've talked about your military career, your beautiful children, your magnificent husband. Let's talk about this new because you're an artistic person. I mean, you tap, ballet, you do all these things, and you ventured into a whole nother environment. Tell us about where you are now and what you do.
I create artwork that depicts the so-called Black Americans, African Americans. I create them in a positive light to shine light on the power that they have, the power that was always there.
Mhm.
And I the I want the world to see our people in a positive light.
Mhm.
I want them to see us happy together, families in a positive light. And I'm not trying to steer anyone's mind into thinking anything. I just want our people to know who they are, the kings and the queens of this earth, to know who they are truly,
Mhm.
because our culture has been taken from us and we've been suppressed for so long. And the future is not going to be like the past.
It
The
can't.
future is not going to be like the
It
past.
can't. It can't be because you can't go back and get yesterday. We got this gift today of the present. This is our gift. You are my gift, and I'm hoping that I will be a gift to you on this day as we open up the opportunities that are there for us as a commune, as a family, as the vibrations, that go through the universe. And this scares a lot of people when you talk about getting in tune with the universe and what God really has for us, each and every one of us. There's a specific thing that you do better than anybody else. And that's what's important. And tell us about your artwork because I saw it and I'm just, oh, okay. I'm like, oh, I got to talk to her. Please tell me you brought something for us to see, or tell us where we can see it.
I did send a lot of images to Mr. Kennedy, so
Oh,
he could have those.
oh, thank you. Okay.
Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
You're very creative. I mean, and you can see the expression in their eyes and in their features, and it's so beautifully done. How did you learn that technique? Because I've never seen anything like that before.
Well, I started seeing them online, and it was a while ago, probably about a year ago, that
Mhm.
I started to see them more consistently. And I wanted to figure out where this is being done and how these images are being created. So I did some research, and I came upon this program called Midjourney. And what Midjourney is it's a AI based platform
Mhm.
that you have to know prompts. So if you know how to put the prompts in and you describe it's all based off of your imagination. So if you
Yes.
have a big beautiful imagination, the images will come out radiant. They'll come out just like you imagine them to come out. And that's what I do. And I've been doing it for quite a while now, and I share them with my community. And it's just been such a blessing to see and hear the feedback from the people that I interact with every day. And they they say things like, "Thank you so much for this artwork. This is beautiful." And it shows and depicts our people in such a beautiful light and such a beautiful way. And it made me feel so good about myself. And that's what I wanted to bring to the table. It didn't start out that way. It was just strictly for sharing with my family
Mhm.
and with my children and my friends. And all of a sudden, it just started blowing up. So I started doing it more and more and
Mhm.
creating more and more. And now they're up on a shop called Redbubble, and they're up on
Just so you
the
know,
Beloved Brother.
what do you say? This red bubble.
Yes, Redbubble. I
Mhm.
sent Mr. Kennedy a link
Okay.
to share with you and whoever
I'll
else is
absolutely
interested.
look it up. I wanted to talk to you and find out where you are from. You talk about a lot of the energy and the vibrations that we all have, and some of those vibrations can not be for the good of us, or the good of when I say us, I mean the good of the world, the good of the community. And we need to stop thinking that we're going to do this all by ourselves, because that is just like some crazy hooey. Find the people that you know and that you like. So now, are you building on this community to bring in other artists? Are you going to show it, in an art gallery, or create your own art gallery?
My goal is to make them NFTs.
Mm.
So putting them
Tell
on
people what an NFT is so they'll understand.
NFTs. I actually am not super knowledgeable when it comes to NFTs. I had just gotten the message to go forward and study and research about NFTs a few
Mm,
days ago from my husband,
mm.
and it's called a non-fungible
Wonderful
token.
token. Yeah.
Yes,
Mm,
and I wanted to put them out there so the world can have access to them, or
mhm,
people can have access to them. And they're already on YouTube. They're on a platform that the beloved brother Big Levi shares, and he has. And I know you've met the beloved
We
brother, and we
we
got
had
to
him on the
talk.
show.
I watched that interview. It was very wonderful.
Oh, why, thank you very much. He was giving
Hmm.
us really good information. And uh, when you talk about the crystals and the stones and keeping that positive energy around you, people think I'm crazy, but I ain't, like a fox.
That's the thing. That's the thing that people do think that you're crazy for going into esoteric knowledge, the knowledge that is deep, the
Mhm,
knowledge that we had when we were ancient, and bringing that back out now. I mean, the crystals are everywhere, and
mhm,
it's in the ether. It's in the it's all around us. It's in the ether, and it's being advertised now. Get your crystals.
mhm.
It's but they don't know what they are. People don't know how powerful they really are. And
And that energy and that connective energy. And when you, like I tell people all the time, people say, "Oh, well, Keilah, let me pray for you." And they could be praying, and you're thinking they're going to pray for my success. They could be praying for your demise. That's why you got to keep in positive energy around you all the time. And maybe I saw it, I did see it, but I wouldn't accept it that people could be that mean to me. And you don't even know me that well. And they, almost like, well, you just cut us off, mother love. I'm like, you giving off too much bad juju. I'm not gonna be around somebody like that. And when your channels are open, you could see the toxic energy around them. The universe will allow you to see and say to you, be cordial, be nice, and don't talk to them like ever. 'Cause they're
exactly.
praying for your demise. Now, when you're talking about the art and your kids are watching you do this, how are they learning from you to be a part of the universe?
Well, aside from prayer, aside from becoming separate from the norm, the world, I tell them that the world is one thing and you are another. And the people that are running things now, that are setting this system up right now, you have to be separate from them. You can't have their mind. You have to disconnect from it because it's poisonous, it's
Mm-hmm.
toxic.
Mm-hmm.
So for us, since we're a set apart people, we're a very special people, we need to conduct ourselves in that way. We need to dress like we are queens. We need to dress like royalty. We need to treat ourselves like we matter, that our lives are very, very precious. And your thoughts are very important. You can't be around certain vibrations. You can't be around certain people. You have to set yourself apart from all of the things that are detrimental to your success.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us, we fail because we don't know who our enemies are. It's not like they have huge signs on their foreheads, the people that, persecute you, the people who are trying to oppress you. They don't have signs that say, I'm an oppressor, I'm an enemy.
Mm-mm.
It's very difficult to find out who those people are. And that's why I tell my children that you have to set yourself apart in order to attain the ability to discern.
And that's the key right there, the ability to discern. And how is this going to have a positive effect on you or a negative effect? I mean, we want the young people to know that there's a thing called balance, and it's all right for you to disagree, and it's all right for you to agree. And you gotta, and the people that are always said, I want to be the dumbest one in the room because I want to learn from everybody. So I'm coming in the room, I'm the dumbest one in the room. My head is empty, fill me up. And I'm a pretty smart chick, you know. So I want people around me that are smarter than me, that have better
Yeah.
energy than I do, that can help build up my energy and my vibrations, because that is so important. And to know who you are. Now, where you are now in your life, what would you say, talking to your 4 year when you were four and your mother came to tell you that you were adopted? What would you say to that little girl now?
I would tell her to just wait and be quick to listen and slow to speak. That's what I would say.
And she would get
Very.
that. She would get that at 4.
No, she probably wouldn't get that at 4. That was I would say that you are enough. You are able to be loved unconditionally, and find something about yourself to love. And and then as you get older, find more and focus on those things.
And find out as you get older that you have a place and it's up to you to make that place. People are, especially in the crazy business that I'm in, you have people that come out here, to California, and everything is flowers and kisses, and I've unpacked up everything, and I've come to California and I'm living in my car. How long you been living in your car? 3 years. Well, obviously you didn't come out here prepared. And you can go off in so many different directions out here in California. And I don't get me wrong, I had a hard time too out here because I'd never gotten fired from a job until I moved to California. I had never been fired from a job, and I didn't even know how to take that. And so I'm, astute enough to say, I want this, this, and this, and if this happens, this is what we're gonna do. And I guess they didn't think I was gonna do that if this happened, and it did. Oh well, moving on, grow up.
Yep.
And allowing people to even come into your space. Are you more not skeptical, but more concerned? And not that, are you more able to discern, even from a short conversation, that this is a good person for me, this is not a good person for me? Because people always want to tell you who you can like and who you cannot like, and she should be your friend and he should be your friend. You don't do that. So what do you do for you? That's just for you, because you are a force to be reckoned with, and you have such powerful energy. And I can see the light around you 3,000 miles away. I can see it right here on this camera. I mean, you've changed. Your aura has changed like 3 or 4 times since we've been talking, and that is the beauty. What is the top 3 things that you want to do in your life to let you know that you're doing all right and you want to keep growing? I mean, there are new avenues coming up for you.
I am an eternal student. So
Mhm.
I'm always learning new things, and I want to be able to have the capacity to learn forever.
Mhm.
So if I am able to learn and keep moving new things and graduating onto different types of knowledge and greater knowledge,
Mhm.
that would make me feel like I have completed a big portion of my mission. The
That.
second thing,
Mhm.
oh, this is kind of a very hard question. I think
Oh, well,
all of it
what I
would,
mean, wait a minute. Don't even sweat your brain cells for that one, because that just means that somewhere down the line we're gonna have another conversation, and then it won't be so hard for you to, give me the answer that I want. Now, I want the truth. So tell us about a little more about your spirituality and your understanding the crystals and the rocks and your relationship with Big Levi, and would you recommend him to other people?
okay.
Mhm.
My relationship with Big Levi started about 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago. I found his channel randomly.
Mhm.
Um, and of course, that's how it always happens. When the spirit leads you to something, you find it randomly.
Mhm.
And it it ignited. I was in a place at that moment where I was going through some things personally.
Mhm.
So when I was going through those things, I felt like I was being dragged down so far, and I had nowhere to go, no hope left. And all of a sudden, I started hearing him speak about the Most High and how things aren't by chance and how there's no coincidences, and we are servants. And I felt that deep within my being,
Mm.
that I was serving myself, I was serving other people so much, but I wasn't serving the Most High. I wasn't serving the Mighty One at all. And I kept him out of all of my conversations. I kept him out of all of my decisions. And I know that's why I was going through so much at that time. So he became a positive influence in my life and a very, very close friend of mine and my husband's.
Mhm.
And the relationship that I have now with the crystals, with nature, with the things around me,
Mhm.
I feel it on a deeper level now.
Mhm.
And everything is connected. Everything. We are one people. We are a part of something that is so beautiful. And we lost our way. And now is the time that everyone is coming back, reconnecting with one another.
Mhm.
And we will all start something beautiful. We will all start being creators. We will all use our power that the Most High gave us, our talents, to uplift one another, to bring a light to this world. And that's our job. That's my job, is to bring
That's
a
my
light.
job.
Yes, that's your
I'm,
job.
I'm, on, I'm on the assembly line with you. That
Yes.
is our job. And I believe that people are so unhappy and so disjointed about their lives and the decisions that they're making, and they don't feel like that that they can get through this. And that is why it is important to be spiritually connected to the universe. I'm not talking about, religion. Because you could come up, I could have a mother love religion and tell you, you need to do this and put your hair on backwards and wear your pants on your arm. And you just follow me because you know what I'm doing. Listen, I am that forever student as well. I want to wake up and today and be smarter than I was yesterday. And because of you, I am. I am smarter. I am uh, more calmer. You have a great spirit. You got great aura around you. I tell you, I can see that kind of stuff. And have you ever seen, I always say, you want to see how a person really is? Put a baby in front of them or an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Babies that can't talk. But a little toddler, put that from a newborn to about a toddler, put that in somebody's arm, and you've seen little kids do this stuff to other, you know,
Yep.
your kid, the babies will show you the truth, and animal. And I mean, I love animals, but I would never have another dog or cat in my house because they're like pimps. They don't want to be able to drive, go do the laundry, fix their own food. You gotta be like, do you guys have pets?
We don't. Well, actually, I have a chicken.
He's not for dinner though, is he?
No, just an egg laying chicken. Her
Oh,
name is Patrice.
you gave her a Patrice.
Hmm.
Well, that is just wonderful. Now here we are doing what we do. When you turn around and it's time for you to make that transition, what do you want your legacy to be? Okay, right there. I didn't touch anything. Did I lose it? I don't, and I didn't touch a button. It's always going so good, and then it's gone. It was a pleasure to chat with you. I don't know what the technical issue is. The lovely Keilah Cook. She is she is a military. Is a veteran. She's creative. She is beautiful. She's got 5 beautiful children. I just know. I didn't get the opportunity to ask her who her husband is, but husband of Keilah Cook, this is big love coming to you, and to all of your beautiful children. May the universe continue to open up and conspire for all of your great success. And remember this, babies, no matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, it matters not what skin you're in. Everybody needs some mother love now and then. Remember that you can find Keilah on me, it's AI. You can find her work on Redbubble and know that we love you and there's nothing you can do about us loving you. Please, babies, beef, not please.